Mark Bertoli joining us from Abbott Wealth Management on this Wednesday. Great to have you on the show on this day, the first day after the presidential election in the States.
Do I got bags under my eyes from the late night?
No, but I imagine you were up late last night.
Yeah, it was an interesting evening, that's for sure.
You were mentioning in the break that you have been following this very closely through the months and years that they've been campaigning. I
have, yeah, over the last year and a half anyways. I've been watching things very carefully and trying to wade through the spin on both sides and see what. So today I sent a slide over, but I want to talk a little bit about the economics.
Sure.
Not the short-term shock, and everyone expected the markets to go down today. I think the Dow's up 300 points today, so there's been some reaction to this. So let's kind of jump into this. So let's not forget here that the U.S. economy is the #1 economy in the world, okay? What's good for the U.S. economy, we're their #1 trade partner, and there's the short-term talk about is he going to rip up all the agreements and everything else?
Right.
If the U.S. economy does well, Canada does well. So there may be some short-term or some sectors that are going to, softwood lumber, for instance, we didn't get that negotiated yet. That's going to come to play. But if the U.S. economy does well and housing takes off in the U.S., they're still going to need our lumber. So it gives us negotiation power. So the other thing that's on there is corporate tax and Obamacare. Very interestingly, American corporations pay a lot more tax than we do. What Trump proposed that he would like to do is to lower the corporate tax rate to around where Canada is for Canadian small businesses. What that does is it puts more dollars in the hands of those companies to hire more people and grow. Okay. The other thing that they're looking at is Obamacare. While we have our BC Medical, Canada subsidizes medical with other taxes and gas and, you know, luxury tax and things like that. But that is a big burden to U.S. companies, especially small companies. And it looks like they're going to redo Obamacare and get that burden off. So those two aspects are actually quite positive for the U.S. economy and creating jobs in the U.S. economy. The third thing is ripping up North American free trade. There's always tit for tat. You know, well, if you're going to do that and you need this from Canada, perhaps we're going to do this. And all of a sudden, the people that have come out with these predictions about what's going to happen go, oh, well, I better not do that then because it's going to have a negative repercussion to an American industry over here. So a lot of the rhetoric is just that, and there has to be fairness on both sides. And you always, especially internationally, strive to make fairness the bottom line on agreements.
Right.
Short-term pain, long-term gain, I put on there, and I put Reaganomics. What Trump has proposed is a lot of copying what Reagan did back in 1990. And that was a big thing because Reagan did exactly that. He cut corporate tax, he stimulated the economy, and after the first year of Reagan's term, and he was also not very popular at all when he was voted in. There's a lot of similarities here. But the fact of the matter is the U.S. went through one of the greatest booms that they'd had since the Depression a year after Reagan got in and implemented the lower tax on corporations. He really got the economy going.
So you're feeling positive about some of this?
Well, there's some of the things, and I think a lot of the things that people are worried about are going to get tempered.
Because I think a lot of people will suffer at the hands of Obamacare being disintegrated, free trade agreement being disintegrated, and if not forever, the short-term failures of that are going to be...
Are they going to be able to disintegrate free trade, though? That's the point. That's the point I made about there are things that the U.S. needs from Canada, and things have to be fair in that regard and balanced, right? Another thing that's very interesting, and we were talking about in the break, is your investment strategy. Owning the companies and knowing the companies that you own in your investment strategy and keeping a calm hand through this is very important.
Have you had calls today?
Very few.
That's good.
Very, very few. But really, the companies, you take the Royal Bank of Canada. It's been through 30 presidential cycles.
Sure.
And posted the greatest profit of all time last year. These companies have been there and done that many times. So owning quality companies and being an investor, not a gambler or speculator, or a business owner in that regard, will get you a long ways through all of this. So that's a big thing. The last thing is copper. We call copper the metal with a PhD in economics. If you lay copper's chart over the indexes, it's a pre-qualifier, and lately it's been having quite a run to the upside.
Yes,
so that's very.
What's copper at right now, were you saying?
Oh, it's around 230, somewhere around there. So
yeah.
it's done very well in the recent times.
Okay, we're out of time, but we also want to mention this guy, Orville Dove.
Yes, this is my hero. Came and spoke when my children were little at the elementary school. A true life hero, a veteran. What he did, and people like Orville and all of his wife, longtime Rotarian in this community, gave us the ability to vote. And we can't forget that.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned.
Those are the heroes.
Yeah, that's very true, Mark.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for mentioning that. I'm glad we got to put a picture up of Orville. Great guy. We've had the fortunate occurrence of being able to interview him a few times before he passed. An amazing man.
And I understand you're going to have the link to the video you guys did?
We do. We've had specials on Remembrance Day every year of different veterans we interviewed, and I believe he is in that segment. So I don't know if we've already aired it or not, but I will be checking.
Yeah, we have the link, so
yes.
if you people want to look at it.
Okay.
It's great. You guys did a great job on that piece on Orville.
I can't take credit, but thank you. Out of time. Thank you so much for being here.
You.
Quick break. We're back with more Midday. Stay with us.